Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will officially launch his White House bid tonight, and he's going to do it during a live event on Twitter with billionaire Elon Musk. DeSantis will join an increasingly crowded field on the Republican side, currently dominated by former President Donald Trump.
Robert Costa is in Miami, where DeSantis is expected to meet with some longtime donors. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Anne Marie. Good to be with you from here in beautiful Miami. Governor DeSantis, he will enter this race trailing former President Donald Trump by more than 30 points, according to the latest polling from CBS News. The question now is, can he close that gap? But doing so will not be easy.
Get ready.
After months of anticipation, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis plans to announce he's running for president on Twitter tonight, choosing to take advantage of Elon Musk and his 140 million followers.
It'll be the first time that something like this is happening on social media and with real-time questions and answers. Not scripted.
DeSantis' allies say he'll play up his combative politics alongside the tech billionaire, casting himself as a fellow culture warrior on a platform his biggest rival embraced as president. And on Tuesday, DeSantis' wife, Casey, tweeted a video teasing her husband's run.
Is it worth the sacrifice? America has been worth it every single time.
But DeSantis is now playing catch-up. Former President Donald Trump is firmly atop the polls. Despite several legal challenges looming over his candidacy, Trump has charged ahead after a CNN town hall earlier this month.
Our country has gone to hell.
And is forcing DeSantis to fend off repeated attacks.
Ron DeSantis. Did anyone ever hear of DeSantis, the sanctimonious?
But the Florida governor is standing his ground, taking veiled swipes at Trump, too.
I think the party has developed a culture of losing.
DeSantis, popular with many Republicans for his conservative policies, has come under criticism even from some in his own party over a 6-week abortion ban he signed into law. And the NAACP has issued a travel advisory for Florida, warning recent legislation is openly hostile toward African Americans.
We're proud of what we've accomplished in Florida, but I can tell you this, I have only begun to fight.
DeSantis' team, they are confident that he can generate momentum both politically and financially in the coming days. In fact, DeSantis will be huddling here in the Miami area with his major donors in the coming days, and then he'll have a formal campaign launch with his supporters. And then further on the horizon, a trip to those early voting states. Anne Marie.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Let's bring in CBS News Miami investigative reporter Jim DeFede to talk a little bit more about all of this. It's always good to see you, Jim. So DeSantis has gained, quite a lot of attention for his controversial battles, his culture war battles. Aside from that, what is his record as governor like? Anything else that stands out?
So you're absolutely right. I mean, he deliberately set out a very conservative social agenda designed to get him where he is today, which is, standard bearer for a lot of these issues nationally. But when you look at how he's handled Florida itself, it's a mixed record. One thing that I will say that he has done and has been focused on is the environment here in Florida. He has pumped a lot of money into Everglades restoration. He has made that a priority. But at the same time, there are a lot of issues that have gone unmet in Florida. And his critics would point to the fact that it is very expensive to live here, that housing is very expensive, and he's done little about that. Property insurance, especially as we head into hurricane season, is skyrocketing once again. The state has done virtually nothing about that. It has a broken unemployment system, and also healthcare. We still have close to 2 million people, or more than 2 million people, uninsured in the state of Florida, because Florida is one of just 10 states that refuses still to expand Medicaid and bring back those federal dollars that would have insured upwards of 900,000 or 1 million people here in Florida, including many children. So as you say, it's a mixed record, but it's one of the ones that are going to be picked apart as he enters this presidential fray.
So this 2024 announcement on Twitter, it's going to be moderated by a wealthy entrepreneur. I presume sort of a friendly face for Mr. DeSantis. David Sachs is his name. What can you tell us about him?
So a very friendly face. David Sachs is one of Ron DeSantis' early supporters. He is a tech entrepreneur. He was an early investor in a number of companies, including Airbnb. He's best known for his work with PayPal. So he is one of the galaxy of billionaires, and it is a galaxy of billionaires that Ron DeSantis has orbiting around him. He has no shortage of money as a result. And I do think that David Sachs is designed to be sort of an easy influence between DeSantis and Elon Musk, who can be somewhat unpredictable, let's say. So I think Sachs's role tonight is going to be to keep the train on the tracks. He is very, he hosts a podcast as well, David Sachs does, very much in line with the thinking of Ron DeSantis in terms of his social policy, very anti-PC. So it is a friendly face and one that DeSantis has assiduously courted for some time for his introduction into the Silicon Valley area.
So, as you know, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott has announced his candidacy. I think he was going in with like more than $20 million. And then since the announcement, he's raised $2 million. How does that stack up against, DeSantis? He said he has a galaxy of sort of billionaires around him.
So that's pretty much couch change for the Ron DeSantis campaign. They right now have cash on hand, about $120 million between various PACs that they have spread out. Most of that he raised during the governor's race, knowing that he could transfer it into a PAC to be able to use for him now. The DeSantis campaign is looking at probably raising over $200 million, maybe $250, $300 million to try to win the nomination. So he's got no shortage of money. And basically, the way to think about it is Ron DeSantis has as much money as all the other candidates, including Donald Trump, combined.
Wow, that is something. This is going to be a heck of a ride. Jim DeFede, thank you very much.
Thanks, Anne Marie.